shocks. Who knows
There's
how
Grey
this will
Wolf.
play out?
Big Green doing his thing.
Ukraine is
Instructing
fighting
everyone.
for its life. These are very desperate
Just
times.
kidding.
But one should take hope from the courage of the Ukrainian people.
What else can your country and our country and our allies do? Germany, the surprising news, for example, they were
Go catch up, go with him anyway.
stairs to Ukraine to fight against Russia. Imposing strict-
I guess I'm just going to stay back.
So there are two things we're doing, NATO leaders are doing, G7 and the EU.
What are you doing?
I'm just going to stay back.
Defensive weapons to
You'll
Ukraine.
catch up?
I do want to stress the fact that these are defensive weapons. They're lethal, but they're there
All
so
right.
Ukrainians can defend their homeland. They're not there to attack Russia. NATO is no threat to Russia. And then the second thing is on the sanctions. We've already sanctioned Russian individuals, Russian banks. We're working to degrade the financing.
Ron likes to ride at the front.
Oh, he was the first one there, he should.
One of those measures.
First one where at Atalanta?
Yeah.
Because it requires
He's
very
great.
widespread agreement.
He's a great guy. He loves to talk to people. Very personable.
Access to capital markets. There's agreement to limit technology exports.
Ron was the first one there. I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that.
Is there anybody in the truck beside me? Is there anybody in the truck?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is happening has been told to the Russian people. What's been done?
Burr in my pants.
And there certainly will
All right,
be
let's
more
go.
in the coming days and weeks. Meanwhile, praise Putin. They echo Putin's propaganda. Why do they choose to ignorantly ignore and dismiss this spoken out at the UN as the British ambassador for years? What would you say to corrupt the misguided and deluded views of those who have shown favor to Putin?
One fact stands out,
Thank you, everyone.
But really, those have been the only time that very serious conflict has broken out on the territory of Europe until now. And the person responsible for the invasion of Ukraine and the war in Europe is President Putin. There's absolutely no justification for that. There are ways of discussing European security. Europe has had those mechanisms ever since the end of the Second World War, and again when the Soviet Union broke up in the 1990s. Those mechanisms were in place. They brought a Europe that was wholly free, and the person who's brought that crashing down is President Putin. And America benefits from a Europe wholly free, and we in turn know the debt we owe to America. And for that result, it is President Putin who is trying to shatter it for no justification.
Thank you.
Thank you to those people.
Thank you. Thank you, Amarella.
Ambassador Pierce, thank you for putting the blame where it belongs on Vladimir Putin.
Hey!
Pierce, the
Woohoo!
British ambassador to the United States in Washington. Thank you. That's all.
Sorry, Jane Pierce. Hey, Eric, we're going to take you back now to Lviv, Ukraine, which is about 40 miles from the Polish border. Benjamin
Thank you.
just arrived there, and Benjamin, you hear me now, I understand you have an eventful
Trying not to get too much dust in your truck.
Yeah, as you said, I just got here in the last hour or so. We drove about 12 hours to get here. We talk a lot about the human cost of this invasion, the mass exodus of people. But when you
I've
see it
got burrs
firsthand,
in
it
my
takes on a whole
socks.
different meaning. 20, 30 miles of
I'm
cars,
filthy
people
dirty.
waiting for days to try and escape the fighting they fear is coming their way.
Yeah,
and every
it's working
single
its way
car,
down there, I
packed
can
with
tell you
women
that.
And children. They don't know where they're going in many cases because they had to flee so suddenly. Up till just a few days ago, they still didn't think this invasion was really coming. And now that it has come right to their doorstep, they're on the move. They hope that they're going to find places to shelter on the other side of the border, but they just don't know. And what's more important is that their husbands, in most cases, cannot join them. There's a presidential decree that's recently been brought in that suggests, that says any male between the ages of 18 and 60 cannot cross the border. They have to go back and defend their countries. And so we saw the most harrowing scenes on the border of these families being torn apart, saying to us, we don't know when we're going to see our loved ones again. We just have to hold them tight now and hope they'll be okay. But the fear really is now that Putin might continue moving further west to cities like Lviv. And in fact, this city is now being ringed with defenses. The sandbags are coming out, the concrete barriers are coming out, because no one knows what he might do. It really is heart-wrenching to see. And you ask people how they feel about the US and the Western response, and I have to say, they all wonder why they've been left to themselves. They're grateful for the support they've been given. They're grateful for the defensive weapons. But they say, if you were so certain this was going to come, why not more support? Why take so long to drip out these sanctions? It hasn't affected Putin, and more needs to be done to stop him. They particularly pick out the Germans. Many of them said, you know, we feel Germany has not done enough. And they hope that will change. We know with the news today they're going to be sending some javelins. That will change. But when you look into the eyes of these people, these families who are fleeing with nowhere to go, it is heart-wrenching. The UN say that 120,000 people have fled this country already. They fear that number can rise quite quickly to 1 million, possibly to 5 million. And people have often said that the refugee crisis is one of the tools that Putin might consider using. That destabilizes the rest of Europe, and in its way it is weaponizing human migration. It is tragic to see this country. It's just a few months ago really was Western leaning, free.
You got a great horn there, Dan. You like that, don't you?
They just don't know at this point how long they can be held back.
A great horn.
And Benjamin, you know, we're reporters. We are to be objective, but we're human. And of course, when we see the images on television, it's one way. But when you get there on the ground, in the face of human disaster, human peril, it's different. If you wouldn't mind sharing with us your personal thoughts when you first saw the devastation and the human impact in person.
Well, you ask about making it personal, Arthur. Which I'm a father of 3 young girls, and every girl whose eyes you look into, you feel that pain, and you just have to imagine if your life was upended so suddenly, if your family was ripped from you, and you had to send them off to an unknown future, an uncertain future, and go back and fight for your homeland. It is terribly sad to see, there's no doubt about it. Look, I've covered a number of wars, I've seen a lot of this heartbreak. I will tell you also that there is resilience, particularly in the children. You know, the young ones in particular don't quite understand what's going on. That's all they've taken. They pack what they can into these cars. Some of them were running out of food in these cars. Some of these cars were running out of gas, and people were just getting out and walking towards the border. Children in tow. These are scenes that we see in places like Syria, Somalia, Afghanistan. It's being repeated now in Europe, and it is a tragedy. And yes, these countries on the border, they are helping. They are setting up facilities to welcome them. But it's not going to be enough if those figures keep rising. And again, it's just another angle of this conflict, which is so hard to see. So you have the two sides always. You have the humanitarian disaster, the crisis, and you have the battle raging not terribly far away. No one knows how it's going to play out, but at this point, it's only getting worse.
Benjamin Hall, live in Lviv. We stand behind the people of Ukraine. Benjamin, thank you. Eric.
That we do. Thank you. Well, President Biden is meeting with his national security team at his home in Delaware. The president, we're told, is in Wilmington, has left the White House. He's attending a memorial service for a family member in Delaware this weekend. The administration has hit Russian leaders and oligarchs with harsh sanctions in an effort to try and stop this invasion. But, you know, there's still questions over the harshest economic hit. That would be kicking Russia out of SWIFT, the international banking system. Jackie Hyman is on the North Block of the White House with the latest from there. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Eric. We are awaiting word from the National Security Council, from the White House, on whether there has been any movement on SWIFT. There's been some reporting today that the two holdouts, Germany and Italy, have both moved to lift their opposition to what is has long been considered to be the nuclear option, booting Russia from the SWIFT international banking system. They depend on that basically to do all of the business for their economy. It has been the last resort. There have been a number of iterations of possibilities that the White House has been considering, including potentially just taking individual Russian entities and banks off of SWIFT. But the White House has consistently said that it is an option that's on the table. They want to work in concert with allies to ensure that this is a coordinated effort and that everybody agrees. And it seems like the developments today, there have been rumblings that the U.S. is moving in that direction, or rather that the allies are moving in that direction, and this has been something that the U.S. has not had opposition to up until now. So awaiting any more word on that. However, the president did give an interview and a podcast about the sanctions that have been imposed on Russia thus far, targeting the Russian president, top diplomat or top members of his government, and certain banks and individuals. Listen to what he says about how different these sanctions are from what has been imposed on Russia for aggression in the past, such as in 2008 and 2014 when they attacked Georgia and Crimea, and also now understanding that these sanctions, we may not see the full impact of them for some time. Take a listen.
There's no sanction that is immediate. It's not like you can sanction someone and say you no longer are going to be able to be the president of Russia.
There's also an effort happening right now within the EU to bolster economic sanctions against Russia. I'm told by a diplomatic source that European Union is going to block all Russian commercial flights from flying over Europe as part of the economic sanctions. So what we're seeing is the countries around the world basically unite against Russia to ensure that these sanctions have the fullest possible impact. Eric?
All right, Jackie. Thanks so much from the White House. Well, in a few moments, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn will be here. She will be announcing on the Fox News channel a Senate move to yank SWIFT from Putin's clutches. We will have the senator on that in a few moments. Like that?
We're going to do everything that we need to do to defend our country. And as the president has said, we're going to do what we need to do to defend every inch of NATO territory. And we take those obligations seriously, both to the American people and to our allies. I just leave it at that.
And that is Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby reaffirming America's commitment to NATO as Russian President Vladimir Putin threatens the alliance. He says NATO must withdraw forces from member nations near Moscow or face, quote, military and political consequences. Meanwhile, Russian officials warning Finland and Sweden to back off any plans to join NATO. Retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Blake Ford is a former U.S. Deputy Military Representative to NATO, also an Operation Enduring Freedom C-17 Commander. General Holt, thank you for joining us. Tell us off the bat how this newly announced $350 million in U.S. military aid will aid Ukraine against the
I'm up here just now passing the get-on ramp of the 76. Oh, look at this guy. Dropping down about 20 here, guys. Got forward, trying to get out. I don't know if he's gone late or if he's gone trying to squeeze in. Speeding up, guys, speeding up. Let's blow back out. Didn't get the middle lane. Hey, shut up, man. We're gonna go ahead and move into that middle lane right now. Continue 40 east. Let the main vehicle get back in. Middle lane, 40 east. Everybody shoot over to lane 2. Convoy, shoot over to lane 2. I'm caught up with the convoy. Big deal. Holy shit, I got fucked up. You just keep knocking all these people. You see people on overpass, they're out supporting truckers. Not themselves, the truckers. And the American people, give them a honk on the floor. Man.